question. Let's start with a question today. So let's give you a scenario. I want to see how you feel you would react, and I want your answer. I want to hear it in the comments down below. I want to hear it in live chat. Share with me what you would feel or think at the very moment that this happened, okay? So somebody that you trust, you love, whether, a significant other, maybe it's a cousin, a brother, a lover, I don't know. Maybe this is your bestie, this is your mom, whatever. So they've stayed with you overnight, and they have to get up and go to work the next morning. They get ready, they go out to their car, and they're out there for a few minutes. Then they come back into the house and they say, I can't go to work, I can't find my keys. And you say, naturally, what? They can't go to work. They can't find their keys. It's their only set of keys for the vehicle, apparently. Oh, that's too bad. Or would you be like, let me help you look? Right? So that would be my response. Oh, I'll help you look. And I'd start to think of where to look for the keys. But at this moment, now I want you paying close attention. They're like, no, stop. Don't look for my keys. What's your thought? What are you thinking? Why wouldn't they want you to look for their keys if they've lost them and they got to get to work? It would only seem logical that the solution would be to find the keys, because eventually the keys got to be found, right? But they don't want you to search. They're like, nope, do not look for my keys. And they start baking a cake. Like they just go off and start baking a cake like nothing happened. What are you thinking? Let me help you look. Yes, Leanne. Yes, that's exactly what I would think too. Let me help you look. But they're like, no, don't even. Then they add, don't even talk about my keys. Don't even talk about my keys. Don't look for them and don't talk about my keys. How are you feeling about that? Dream of Justice is saying, I'm so glued to this story. Are you feeling what I'm saying though? Shelley Ray, I would look, and if they didn't want to look, I would think they didn't care. The same. Okay. Then you do it, I'd say, or maybe they didn't want to go. That person must want to lose their job. Right. So all of a sudden, because they don't want you looking for the keys, you've now assessed the situation that there's something wrong with the scenario that you think is going on. So they've come in and they've told you, I can't go to work today. I can't find my keys. Don't look for my keys. Right? And so you're like, oh, so you don't want your job, or you don't want to go to work. There's that ulterior true goal behind it. Welcome to a Level 11 True Crime. Mama D coming at you in the house. Happy to have you with me. Happy to be here with you. And today we're talking about Nancy Guthrie, Tucson, Arizona. Maybe she's in Australia where Savannah Guthrie was born, where they returned and they did their trip back a few years ago, and quite a few years ago, where it brought them to tears because they got to talk to all their old friends, Nancy's old friends, and went and visited the hospital that Savannah was born in, and just enjoyed their time so immensely in Australia, where they have a lot of family and friends. I don't know, I'm just throwing things out there. Now today, I'm not sure where we're going, but I'll be damn sure know that if somebody told me not to look for their keys, I would begin to think like you, that they didn't want their job. They didn't want the keys found because they didn't want to go to work. There was something behind it, right? They wanted a day off, and it was an excuse, Samantha. So you would suspect, basically, and I think I can say this for all of you, that in that situation, you would suspect a farce, a fake scenario. You might think, well, they probably do know where the keys are and don't want you wasting your time. Maybe. It's interesting because that's what's happened in so many of these missing persons cases where the internet gets a light because we're like, something's wrong with this picture. They're not even looking for the person, and it's much like not looking for the keys. It's like, I can't go to work. I don't have the keys to start my car. No, don't look. Don't even talk about my keys. And these are not keys. These are human beings that could be suffering. These are their loved ones that could be in immense danger that need to be found. And yet, we're 3 months into it, and we have like the family, especially Savannah, and she keeps saying things like, I believe she's out there. We still believe she's alive. We still believe. Okay, so do you have concerns that, she could be being harmed? Sheriff Nanos, I still believe she's out there. I still believe she could be alive. Do you and Savannah, you Banana Nanos, and Savannah and the family know something we don't? Because it's that scenario. We have a missing 84-year-old woman, but we're told don't look. And friends, family, and church members have been all asked, according to Brian Enton, allegedly to not speak of Nancy. So it's that moment where the person's not only telling you not to look for the keys, but don't even talk about the keys. Just let this go. I get suspicious if somebody lost their dog and they told me not to look for their dog and not to talk about their dog. I would be like, what did you do to the dog? What are you hiding? Right? So if the person doesn't want you looking for the keys, the first thought you probably had was, what are they hiding? What are they really hiding? Because that's the first thought that goes through my head when it comes to Nancy Guthrie cases. What are they hiding? And it's not because I'm just, all controversy or all conspiracy or any of that. It's because it's human nature when someone loses something that if you're a good nature, if you're a good human being and you care, you're going to offer to help if you can. And when you're told, no, don't look. And then hushed on top of it, the hushing part is where I'm like, what are they hiding? Absolutely, says Leanne. They all know, in your opinion. Exactly, Carla. What is really going on? Truly. Hey, Lynn on YouTube. Michelle, hello, lovely. Lenny says, with the money they have, I would be hiring anybody and everybody to find my mom. Including probably allowing organized, qualified search groups like the Cajun Navy that have actual scent dogs and tracking dogs to search, in my opinion. Nanette, exactly what is the family hiding? Why ask friends to keep quiet and not say anything? Good segue here. So I put Mr. Scrubber, Savannah's husband, Michael Feldman, on the thumbnail for a reason. Because I'm noticing, and maybe you aren't, that, let me make this really big here, if I can. Oh, it's not letting me. Okay, I can't. It's not wanting to respond right now. There it goes. What are they hiding? What is this all about? Why don't they want us to talk about Nancy Guthrie? And have you noticed that every time you hit Google now on Nancy Guthrie, there's far fewer things out there? My gosh, 3 months of the woman missing, it should be just plastered. Just nothing but miles and pages of Nancy Guthrie, but the internet's getting less and less information. It's like it's being weeded out. Oh, I don't know, scrubbed. Look up Tommaso and Annie. There's one, maybe two pictures, no stories hardly. old stories, but nothing new. You look up Dominic Evans, the band member, there's the one picture, not much else. All the information is just slowly dwindling and disappearing off the internet. And then we have all the family, friends, and church members being asked to, shh, don't talk about Nancy. We're not allowed to search for Nancy. We have the FBI now officially, after 100-day mark, pulling back their resources on the case. We have Sheriff Banana Nanos, who is on his way out the door, heading to his Corvette, his little white Corvette. And he gets stopped by that reporter that is saying, you know, are you any further on the Nancy Guthrie case? And he's like, yes. Yep. And that's it. And then they run with that for miles on the media, and they're like, well, they're making progress. Or he just gave you a pacifier in one word. Yep. That's it. He just gave you a pacifier. Because that's what this case is amounting to. It's just pacifying those that are put on the spot. Otherwise, they've run off the YouTubers. They've run off media. You're not allowed to even walk on that road or stand on that road unless you want Sue Ellen in your face screaming at you. Okay, we got some weird things going on in Tucson. And when you look at the Nancy Guthrie case, that place was clean. Like the internet, like scrubbed. Like the interior of the house is immaculate. How is that even possible? We have scrubbing going on physically somehow that cleaned that place. Back doors are wide open. I just don't get it. Yeah, Savannah's moving on to a new job. Just, you know, technically 3 months after her mother's missing, she's out here living her best life. And it wasn't that way for Savannah before her mom went missing. You have to keep in mind that Savannah was on the verge of possibly losing everything. Losing all 3 mansions, allegedly. Losing her NBC job that was $8 mil to $10 mil a year. She is, by the way, the highest paid, above Al Roker, the highest paid. Been there 14 years. She was losing it all, on the verge of losing everything. She wasn't going to be going to the Olympics because she had just had throat surgery. And when she was down and out and not able to be on the show, the Today Show ratings jumped up 12%. And they were like, wow, that's the highest ratings we've had since Savannah started the job. And she's not even here. And now, Savannah Guthrie's mom went missing. They don't want us to talk about Nancy. They don't want us looking for Nancy. They do not want certified, trained, volunteer searchers with dogs to search. Sheriff Banana Nanos got mad, got frustrated with the city clerk, with the county clerk, I guess, the county clerk, because the FBI called and was asking her for information about land and deeds, and she supplied it. And then in letting Sheriff Banana Nanos know, he got frustrated and was very disappointed and was telling her that she was making more work for them. More work. It's almost as if the shenanigans has gone on too long for the players to want to play the game anymore. Interesting, I'd say, game, because isn't that what this was back in the early days with Savannah and Annie and their cousin Terry, where they would get kidnapped? I mean, she devoted, Savannah, in What God Does, she devoted an entire chapter to this game that they played of kidnapping. Now, you're also going to find out today that Savannah is a master of costumes. Yes, it's mostly related to Halloween, But she dresses up as a man. She wears prosthetics. She is not unfamiliar with a good, oh, I don't know, movie star disguise, as they say. So, family behind it all, in your opinion, Canadian girl, thank you for sharing. Reflections owner, hello. Do you think some people are not as important as they think? Yes. I think we should all remain humble and realize that, when we wake up, we all go poop. Keep it real. Everybody has to go poop because you're all full of shit, including myself. We're all full of it. And we get our ego. Some people's ego is so out there that, that ego is one of the real reasons that there's a lot of homicides. Because the wife cheated on the husband, his ego was damaged. The husband cheated on the wife and she did him in because her ego was damaged, felt betrayed. Ego. Ego is a moral dilemma for some people because they can't control that inner beast of feeling self-important. And it's much better to be self-aware and confident in what you feel, what you believe, but don't let your ego buy your plane ticket to a place that your authentic self is uncomfortable with, where you have to maintain for anybody. Savannah's a snack. I don't even know what that means. The whole family's weird. Thank you, lovely. You don't trust her, Nana? I called you Nana. Nanette. You're now Nana. You're my Nana. It's that Cheshire Cat grin. Oh my gosh, let's look. I don't like it. All right, let's get over here and look at this. News Nation's Brian Inton tells Parade what he's learned regarding Guthrie's church friends. Quote, we've heard from several that the Guthrie family has asked Nancy's close friends to keep things private right now, Inton says. You haven't seen a lot of her close friends come forward and talk about her, which is different than other cases. Inton adds that there remains significant unease surrounding the case, particularly among residents in the Tucson area. Elsa says neighbors are talking to YouTubers now about Nancy's case. It'll happen. Hey, Passion Flower, welcome back. Everyone will be mad at me, but I never cared for Savannah, only watched her a few times. I didn't even know who the heck Savannah was. I knew of her, but I wasn't watching her or nothing. The reason they're getting ratings is because everybody's wanting to know, where is Nancy Guthrie? Once we know that, nobody will be paying attention to Savannah. Really. I mean, they weren't before Nancy went missing. That's obvious when they had a 12% surge in views when Savannah left, right, on medical leave. Keep it real. That's right, Dream Justice. Michael or Michelle investigates Savannah choreographed the 40-plus day couch sitting, and the choreographed march to Mom's memorial was almost laughable. Not sure what you're talking about, honey. I didn't see it. She seems so fake, in your opinion. Thank you, Danny. You don't trust any of them, Leanne? This case, Mama, it's Arizona, Crooked, Arizona. The day is long. Could be. There's a group of YouTubers back in Tucson today. Yes, and they're all standing together. And that's beautiful. I really appreciate all of them. Chloe Krebs says never liked Savannah from her start. To me, I'll be honest, she looks like that kind of girl from school that she just, I don't even know how to explain it. Had people fooled. Kelly Simon, of course, Savannah would say that she knows she's the mastermind, and maybe Michael. I don't know. You heard that name, not much about her. And then Jay says, I didn't know she even existed until this case. Michael investigates. Savannah tells us while in Tucson, quote, Nancy was dancing in heaven. Then when Savannah gets to New York Live, then we have to demanded to think of the horror and the ache and the wonder. right? Put us through it. Seeking Justice. How are you doing, lovely? Good to see you. Hope you're feeling better. The Jersey Girl, when this happened, I had no idea who the Today lady was. I never watched Today, so I didn't know. I had to Google her to figure out. I literally named the file, and it's still named that today, Savannah Guthrie's mother. Or mom. Savannah Guthrie's mom. Mean Girls? Yes. The old gray goat? You're going to get the goat. You said Nancy has that same creepy look in your opinion. Okay. Your opinion's welcome. We don't have a problem with somebody expressing their thoughts. Mystery Diva, remember with Savannah, Annie Tomaso put flowers on Nancy's memorial. Annie left a card saying, we are standing on ash, on scorched earth. Who writes that to their mother? This is rude, but she reminds me of the Annabelle doll. Thank you, Danny. I can see it. Yes, Seeking, I agree. She looks for her mom and said, okay, why does Cam get such a break on things, the old gray goat? I don't know. Maybe he puts off a different vibe than they all do. The Jersey lady, the march to the memorial, was the three siblings walking out the house to look at the flowers by the road. Yeah. Maybe Cameron doesn't get the scrutiny because he wasn't losing a $10 million an hour job or $10 million a year job. Maybe Cameron doesn't get the scrutiny because his vehicle wasn't held for, 9 weeks and in evidence and impounded. His house wasn't searched. He didn't seem to make himself unavailable. He talked on camera directly to whoever he thought had, so he didn't really leave anybody questioning things. I'm not saying he didn't have something to do with it. I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying that could be why. RKB, she had the look of just walking out of the coat closet with their best friend. You had no idea who the family was, right? Reflections owner, if you always have someone dressing you, then you dress yourself. You may not know to wear a papa, do you think? I don't know, hon. When you lose someone, you cling to your children, but yet she's willing to potentially put hers at risk. Yeah, I'd think after years she'd want to stay at home and bake. I don't know if I'd want to leave my children if my mother... Okay, let me put it clear. If my mother had been abducted and I had no clue who took her, but in my belief, she was taken because of my fame, because of who I was. I would not leave my children out of sight. I'm telling you, because what would prevent this group of organized individuals that can get away from the FBI, like they can email and not get caught, right? And you believe they have your mother and they're above the law at this point because they haven't gotten caught. What would prevent them from snatching your kid when you aren't there? I would be worried about my husband, my kids, myself, my cousins, anybody I loved, that I had put them at risk, and I would be so concerned. And my goal would be to get my mother back, to provide the clues to who did it so they could get this person out of my environment. YouTube keeps kicking you out of chat. Sorry, Janeville. Mystery Diva, Nancy allegedly was testifying against Big Pharma. That is a completely different Nancy. Mystery Diva, that is a Nancy Guthrie. But the one testifying against the Big Pharma is a completely different Nancy that lives at a completely different place in a completely different state. So two people, different scenarios. Khloe Kardashian is calling them out, saying, come on, cameras are everywhere. This is 2026. Was only a second. Perhaps, okay. You would fear for your children too, so would I. RKB says, I don't believe Savannah is the cause, just my opinion. Seems Kayla and Luke in the Satanic Club scene have dropped off the cliff. Kelly Simon Savannah was sure touching and rubbing Tommaso while Annie was crying so phony. Kicked you out of chat, you're back. I'm sorry, Nina. I don't know how you're getting kicked out. Sorry, you guys, about that. Must be YouTube because we're not doing it. Chloe Krebs says that manipulation so others would not try to something Savannah or risk losing Callis like the ones who took me. Okay, I can't read that. I'm sorry. Not kicking me out today. You must have been naughty, says Nikki K. All right, you guys. I got to talk to you about something serious. Not that this case isn't serious, but this is about Nancy. And I debated on whether to share this or not. It's a photograph that I stumbled upon. And I realized it could be nothing. Could be nothing. But it's a photograph of Nancy with someone. And this is a professional healthcare provider, but they work for a specialty clinic. And why would this person be at Nancy's house hugging Nancy? And it looks like she has the same blue shirt on as when she went missing. Now, if you're thinking, what the healthcare worker do? No. I'm saying there's a clue written on his uniform as to what kind of medical services he was providing, because they have a specialty, and that is colon and rectal cancer. Why would this man, this healthcare worker, have come to home visit Nancy from the Colon and Rectal Cancer Association? So here's Alliance, not Association, Alliance. So in respect of transparency, you can see this worker is holding Nancy very carefully, very genuine. You can see it's her home behind her, right? She's got that blue shirt on that they said she had wore last, and they used it for the dogs. Looks like the same blue to me. And it's Correct All Cancer Agency, which I've done my research. This is specialty for colon and rectal cancer. And once it's in its last stages, there's nothing really that they can do. If it's caught early, it can be treated, but unfortunately, if it is left uncaught, it's possible that there was more to it, that Nancy possibly may have had colon or rectal cancer. Now, I'm not doing this to humiliate anybody or embarrass anybody. We're trying to get to the bottom of what could have happened to Nancy. And that's out of respect and transparency with everybody that I'm sharing this. So this is Colorectal Cancer Alliance, and you can go ahead and look them up. Let me make it smaller so you can see it's right here on his shirt. Maybe she donated to the cancer hospice. Why would the guy show up at her house? I don't think so. Looks like the guy from Today's Show. Interesting. That's what I'm thinking, Passion Flower Hospice. So, I've been in the medical profession for the largest part of my adult life. As a med tech, often you get home visits when you're on hospice, where we come to you to make everything as comfortable as possible. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying it's a possibility. And it's very important that we consider that it's a possibility that Nancy's pacemaker could have quit Like she could have had a malfunction earlier. Now, this is by far the most interesting to me, is that following that picture of understanding, there's a healthcare worker that's coming to her home for a home visit from I can hardly say it, colon and rectal cancer alliance there, colorectal. Then we have this, and this is wild. Now, this comes from Chris McDonough and the interview room, and this is Karen and Chris, his wife, and this is what they shared. Now, listen close. This is what T and A, Tommaso and Annie, allegedly told the police when the police responded, the 911 police responded to Nancy's home. This is some of the first things that they told the police, where they thought Nancy could be. And this is shocking. Hold on, you're not hearing it. All right, hopefully this doesn't scream. But you know what? I'm not even going to use it because my headphones and my microphone have been doing this thing. So hold on. I've got sound for you. Hopefully, if you let me know with the one if you can hear it. Let me get it rewound.
People say.
So, according to what we were told, the family told the deputies that first arrived.
Now clarify who the family is.
The family is Nancy Guthrie's daughter and the son-in-law.
Give me a 1 if you can hear it, you guys.
Not Savannah, not Karen.
Give me a 0 if you can't.
Right. That the family said that they thought Nancy maybe called an Uber and went to the hospital. Much different than calling 911, potentially.
Oh, but it's soft. That's the maximum I can get it. That's as loud as everything is. I didn't boost it. Okay. You can't hear it at all, Smudger? You may have to have headphones. I don't know. So we're getting a lot of ones that everybody can hear it. But low. Okay, I'm going to rewind it. I'll just tell you what they say. They have it on their own source that they absolutely trust. That Annie and Tommaso, specifically Annie and Tommaso, told the police when they arrived at Nancy's that they thought Nancy may have Ubered herself to the hospital. Aw, Silken Velvet, you are the best for digging all this info out. Thank you. You heard it fine with headphones, and that might be. Can you rewind a little? 1. Hi, Bunny. Play it again, please. Okay, y'all. Let me get it back to the start. Here you go.
So, according to what we were told, the family told the deputies that first arrived.
Now clarify who the family is.
The family is Nancy Guthrie's daughter and the son-in-law, not Savannah.
Not Savannah, not Cameron, because they're in different states.
Right. That the family said that they thought Nancy maybe called an Uber and went to the hospital. Much different than calling 911.
People say.
So, according to what we were told, the family told the deputies that first arrived.
Now clarify who the family is.
The family is Nancy Guthrie's daughter and the son-in-law, not Savannah.
Not Savannah, not Cameron, because they're in different states.
Right. That the family said that they thought Nancy maybe called an Uber and went to the hospital. Much different than calling 911, potentially.
Did you hear it that time? Were you able to hear it? So, called an Uber and went to the hospital. TNA must be on something to actually say that. Right, Joe? Renee Marie says Annie is FOS. I think you mean suspicious. I don't know. You said if Nancy went to the hospital, she would have gotten a call as an emergency contact, right? I just found that so strange. But what it told me is it wouldn't have surprised them. It wouldn't have surprised them if that emergency call just hadn't made it through yet because they were still checking Nancy in or something. They were comfortable with the idea that she may have Ubered to the hospital. And so for me, that suggests that Nancy, knowing she was in frail health, could have had something very seriously like that, not just a heart problem. Jan Funk says yes, did hear it. Full of poop. Oh, kind of late for an Uber. The Uber would tell the law if they were called for the hospital drop-off. That's right. That's right. Okay. Now, I got to show you this, and then we're going to get into deep dive. And a lot of you, I don't know, you're going to see what I'm saying or not. I don't know if you'll be able to follow everything. But we'll keep it lighthearted for a minute. We're going to show you some of the costumes. I said Savannah dressed up as a man. Well, let's start with all her female costumes. So she played this picture here of Taylor Swift. She played Taylor Swift. I'll show you closer. She did the whole Grease Lightning. Okay. She's Cyndi Lauper. Legally Blonde. Here she is as Taylor Swift. Savannah. Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. I don't even know what she's supposed to be here, but you can see how large she is. I mean, you say she looks so tiny. This woman's 5'10". She's a solid girl. Look at them pants on her. She ain't no skinny. She's definitely solid at this time, right? Here she's playing the Devil Wear Prada. The Devil Wear Prada. Do you know what that movie's about? It's about ratings. It's about popularity. It's about making it in the light and all the sacrifices, personal sacrifices of having to give up your real life and all your friends and all your family for fame. But there she is, playing the role. Not playing the role, but for the day on the Today Show for Halloween. And she's got the book, Runaway, right there. Okay, she played part of the royal family. So she's got prosthetic nose on and prosthetic ear to play this. And she played a male, right? Now get ready for this one. This is going to blow your mind. She played Kenny Rogers. Look at her in the suit. Does she look as feminine now? Look at that face. It looks to me like the perp. Let's just turn Miss Kenny Rogers. Let's go black and white. Okay. Let me come down here, wherever the perp picture is. We'll just grab one. Where's it at? Where's it at? Do we want that one? I kind of feel like this one shows the eyes even better, but let's go up here. Let's just take this whole slide up. We'll just do that. Hold on, y'all. Ooh, I went too far. Okay. So let's take the perp for a minute. Let's just, look there. Let's make it not transparent. There you go. And then let's go over here and let's grab the other perp picture that I have. A copy of that. And let's just see what that looks like. Where'd our slide go? I wonder, let's try some. Let's take black. Okay. You know what? I know something even better. Let's insert circles of black. Okay? Let's get rid of that really dark. Okay, let's make it smaller. All right, let's fill it with black. I'm just sick of looking at that shine. And we'll put one over here too. Okay. But that way you can kind of get an idea of what it would look like. Now let's take this guy, Savannah. Maybe not that big, but like that. Now let's take this picture of the perp and let's increase the contrast to make it very clear what is what. Let's do it about like that. See where I'm coming from? That looks like a female's eyes. You can kind of get an idea now of what she would look like in a mustache. Savannah's rich enough to charter an airplane. And who's going to ask her? Who's going to be like, give us your alibi? Isn't Cam a pilot? Possibly. But why would she need that? She's got a scrubber for a husband, I'll betcha. He has access to a plane. I'm just saying, in theory. All right, let me go over to this website. Here's where it says it's going to, use the last 10 minutes to kind of go like a little... Okay, I think I'm almost ready. Hold on. I've got to get to this and get it on the screen for you. Oh, wow. What did I do? Let me make it smaller. Like, I didn't even realize I could do all that. Well, here, let's just go off, get me off screen for a minute then. Let's see, I need the face off. Oh, that would be so much work to turn all that off. We'll just get it on the same size as we always do and fit it in here. All right, let's turn that PowerPoint off. Let's make this a little bigger. Now, you guys, real quick before I dig into this little article here on Michael Feldman, Savannah's husband, I want you to look at my cup. Isn't it awesome? Now, this is exclusive with my shop, 1111dex.com. It's a true crime junkie cup. I got a little sweet tea in it. It's got a black interior, black handle, little white cup. So make sure and check out the shop. A lot of new items coming in. We have a lot of true crime merchandise that I am creating and sharing with you. So you can either get the tumbler at this point or the cup, or maybe I'll put up a bundle for you so you can get them both together. Now, are you ready? I know I'm a loud drinker. Hold on, I'm going to need to wet my whistle. So, Michael Feldman is Savannah's husband, and he worked for the Democratic Party. He was a communications consultant for former Democratic political advisor, and he was the vice president of... He was Vice President Al Gore's chief of staff. So he was also a founding partner and managing director of the Glover Park Group. So Feldman began his political career in the U.S. Senate, serving first as the floor assistant in the Senate cloakroom. Ooh, that sounds sexy, right? And then the legislative analysis for the Senate Democratic Policy Committee in 1991. Feldman took leave from the Senate to work on Senator Harris Woolford's special election campaign. He joined Bill Clinton's campaign staff in 1992, and then following the election, he served on the Clinton administration as Vice President Al Gore's Deputy Director of Legislative Affairs from 1993 till 97. I'm telling you all this for a reason. So, he was mentioned, let me get down here. Okay, here it is. I'm going to show this to you. So in 2006, Feldman, Savannah's husband, and Glover Park Group, which he's, one of the founding members of, were part of a controversy when an email from 2015 was released as part of the Epstein files. A Clinton administration acquaintance of Feldman, Larry Summers, told Jeffrey Epstein he should speak to someone at the Glover Park Group, telling him the firm had helped Bill Clinton and David Petraeus. All right, so I was like, who'd he help? David Petraeus. So I'm going to have to scroll here because David Petraeus was the fourth director of the CIA. And you're like, what kind of thing could Savannah's husband have helped with for the head of the CIA? The director of the CIA? Okay. Let me get down here a little bit and then I'll share it. Okay, so it goes on for decades of like, this is the coolest chap, head of this, head of that, just going up the ranks and doing everything right until it all goes to shite in a handbag. So let me get down here. I should have blocked this part because I had to read a novel to get there. Sorry, guys. I may have lost my spot on this. Anyway, this dude had an affair. Okay? Let me see if I can find where he has an affair and he gets caught. And it turns out that the person he's having an affair with, he has told secrets. Top. Like, you don't tell nobody secrets to. And he admits to the issue. And, what do you call that? I'm still looking for this. So I told you it went on forever and ever and ever. Hold on. I'm close. I'm close. Maybe I'm not. Dang it, I had it all. It was 4 o'clock in the morning, y'all, so forgive me if I've missed. I want the girl's name. And I should have screenshot all of this. I'm normally put together well. There's just so much. Okay, hold on. Okay, I found it. Why didn't I do that in the beginning? Let's get over there. Sorry for the delay. On June 30th, 2011, Petraeus, remember this is the CIA guy that the scrubber, Savannah's husband, Michael Feldman, has helped, okay? Allegedly. Petraeus was unanimously confirmed as the director of the CIA by U.S. Senate. Petraeus relinquished command of the U.S. and NATO forces in Afghanistan on the 18th of July 2011 and retired from the U.S. Army on August 31st, 2011. On November 9th, 2012, he resigned from a position as director of the CIA, citing his extramarital affair with his biographer, Paula Broadwell, which was discovered in the course of the FBI investigation that in January of 2015, they reported the Department of Justice prosecutors had recommended bringing felony charges against Petraeus for providing classified information to Broadwell during or while serving as the director of the CIA. Eventually, Petraeus pleaded guilty to one misdemeanor charge of mishandling classified information. He was later sentenced to 2 years of probation and fined $100,000 for the unauthorized removal and retention of classified material he gave to Broadwell. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot more detail of that, but now I want to get down here where I was like, do what? Let's get down here. If I can still find it, that's the problem. As you can see, it's an enormous amount of information. Okay, let me just do it this way. We'll just look up Kelly. Now, remember, we're talking about Savannah and Mark Feldman, and Feldman was named in the email by that guy that said he had helped Petraeus, or whatever the guy's name is here, June of 2016. Petraeus and Mark Kelly, remember Mark Kelly's the senator Savannah sent to talk to Nanos Bananos, right? So think back to June 2016. Petraeus and Mark Kelly, a retired NASA astronaut and later senator from Arizona, announced the creation of a new defunct Pew Pew control group, Veterans Coalition for Common Sense. They all work hand in hand. You feel me? Victoria Lynn says, I do like the way you dig deep to give us information you find. Much appreciated. So I don't know what that, oh, and thank you, Lynn. Victoria, thank you. I don't know what that means that, you know, this dude of the CIA is in the back pocket, basically, because he's been helped by Savannah Guthrie's husband. But it makes you wonder a lot. Because they, you know, that's some powerful people from, you know, the Democratic Party to having your back pocket. And I'm not political. I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. I'm just telling you what they are. It's a fustercluck. Right. 7 Pammy says, I always thought of this. You're helping me connect the dots. Okay. It's sure a fustercluck. Yes. Aw, thank you, Zozo. If you haven't, would you please be so kind to show your love and support for all my hard work and put your DNA on the like button. I don't always ask. I usually say thank you. But today I'm going to ask you to do that because we get so deep in the rabbit hole, we forget. So if you haven't, I ask you to do that if you're comfortable with it, if you so choose. And thank you to all of you that are helping support the channel, whether you hype it up, you like the video, you share the video, whatever you're doing. You're giving me a gold star on YouTube. Every week I get my little report from YouTube, and I have so many gold stars from all of you, which tells me I'm doing something right, inspires me to stay on the cases, and I appreciate you so very much. Yes, fustercluck, word of the day, fustercluck. You'll have to remind me. Look up Savannah interviewing Trump in 2016. No matter the side, she's a horrible person. I watched it, Bunny. It was atrocious. It was bad. Nanos is not talking to the Guthries anymore, only FBI. Or is the Guthries not talking to sheriff anymore? I mean, if he's the Gilligan that I think he is, and if he took some sort of a payout, he tends to run his mouth just a little too much, right? And loose lips sink ships. So, is there someone wanting him out of the camera view? Remember, we're scrubbing things, right? The house has to be spotless, scrubbed clean. We're looking and watching every day the internet getting scrubbed clean. We're watching friends and family and coworkers, or even Savannah's coworkers, I'm saying, are all being asked not to talk about Nancy. Why not? Nancy Guthrie is missing, right? Nancy Guthrie needs to be found. Nancy Guthrie deserves to be found. Unless Sheriff Bananas and Savannah and the family who say, I believe she's still out there, I believe she's still alive, 90 days on her own with nomads in the middle of the desert, or wherever she is, do they know something different? Do they know something completely different? Is she now on full-time hospice care? Or has she passed away from that? Could she have had that cancer or something along that lines? I mean, Andy and Tommaso's first thought allegedly was, well, she probably Ubered herself to the doctor. That would be something you would say if you had an independent person that wanted to utilize hospice and retain their own life. So when it's hospice, you can't force somebody to drink water just because you think it'll save their life. You're basically making them as comfortable as possible and letting them do what they want out of respect, out of care, out of love. So, is that why Annie and Tommaso thought that Nancy may have Ubered to the hospital? But the biggest question of all is, why don't they want you talking about Nancy? Why don't want the friends talking about it? Why is the internet being scrubbed? Why are we being told as creators that are trying to find Nancy that we shouldn't be talking about Nancy? I don't know. Who's in bad health could not have perfectly cleaned home. Yeah. All right, my lovelies, that is what I bring you today. I am going to pull some cards. I do want to show you something real quick. I have all these cards. These are my notes for the next time we get together. If Nancy left from AT&T's, then who did Tommaso drop off? That's a question. Why not release a 911 call? How could that be anything that would interfere? What message did Savannah Guthrie send with Senator Kelly to deliver to Nanos? Why aren't the family speaking out with outrage as to how Nanos handled this case? And I'll read you one more. I mean, I've got tons of them. So, no, I won't. I won't read you no more. I'll hold it off, and so that we can come back together probably on Monday. Tomorrow, my son is a pianist, and he has a recital for our community, and so I will not be online, but I'm going to leave this video up for you, as well as we have 2 more lives if you want to continue on with me. I greatly appreciate that, and I will see you there. I love you to the moon and back. All right, you guys, are you ready? There we go. We're on our way of 2 of 3. Let me see if I can do it right. 2 of 3. I did it. You rock. I love you.
I was born to the dirt. I shall return when my eyes are closed. In the shadows, my enemy